are entering E&C's Pod of Awesomeness.
So, pretty much, Jay, spent the entire week with you, almost from sunup to sundown, and past sundown. And I'm sick of you. I don't want to do this with you right now. I don't want to do it. I'm like, so I think maybe you take this one by yourself.
You want to jump off and have me and Mega Matt do it?
Yeah. What do you think?
I can't promise you what will be left next week, but
M&C's Pod of Decentness.
Brutal. It's already done. It's already okay. I better stay. Good
I can't
Lord.
even get the fucking letters right.
Pod of Averageness. Where were you last week, by the way, Matt? We were in New Orleans for WrestleMania, and you were nowhere to be found. All I got this random text like, "I will be unavailable out of the country." Like, were you fleeing, or were you in like witness relocation? Like, where were you?
Tax shelter.
I went to a Cuban Comic-Con to represent the Pod of Awesomeness.
Oh, did you?
There was a Mega Matt booth, and I just sat there. It was me by myself for 5 hours next to a few baseball players.
Huh.
No, I was down in Cuba where there is not great Wi-Fi. So, yeah.
There you go.
Party.
There you have it.
But I got off the plane. I didn't know who you guys had gotten last week. I saw it was the Hardys, and I was like, wow.
It's a big week.
Yeah, you guys killed it.
Yeah,
it was a big week. It was Mania week. A lot happened.
Yeah,
I'm still like I passed out on the couch today. Seriously, Beth got home from school, and it was all the energy I had to get through the afternoon. As soon as she got home, I laid down on the couch and I woke up, and I don't know what happened. Like it was one of those type of sleeps where you really just pass out, you black out, like and
slobbering on yourself.
Yeah, that was that was about 4 to 5 o'clock for me. And then, so if I sound like I have my bedroom voice, which is quite baritone and velvety, that could be why. And for those complaining about our levels, screw you. Turn the damn thing up because it's fine in my truck.
Yeah. Now I'm going to yell the entire time. So we had a good week. I guess it's out there now.
It's out there, Jerry.
We were filming for the Edge and Chris Show, the Totally Reeks of Awesomeness, Season 2 on the WWE Network.
Hey, guess what? I don't think it's called that anymore.
What's it called?
I just think it's called the Edge and Christian Show.
Really?
I think so.
Okay, well, we'll see.
All the ads I've seen, that's what it's called. So, yeah.
All right, well.
It rolls off the tongue a little better.
Yeah, well.
Let's be honest.
For those that, remember it as that.
I just shocked you there. I just shocked you. I dumbfounded you. I slapped you with some facts up in your face.
Huh. Well, there you have it.
So anyway, we a lot of filming, a lot of content recorded this week. We also did a bunch last WrestleMania, and it's just been kind of coordinating schedules in order to try and get this done.
Yeah.
But all in all,
all in all, though, I thought I was pretty happy with what we got. I think actually more than pretty happy. I was jazzed to use a term from If I Was 65. I would say I was jazzed about it.
I'll say that this season is going to be the bee's knees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say
okay, but seriously, what are you going to say? What are you going to say?
I was going to say it's going to be the skunk spunk.
Oh.
Just came up with that.
That was never a term. Yeah, it's going to be the skunk spunk. I kind of like it, honestly. It's pretty good. I don't know, Bert. Between that and Paul Smackage, you've been on fire lately.
Oh, man. I don't know what's up with Paul Smackage. He got a lot of requests for him at WrestleCon. People were wondering if he had a booth. And
I heard he did.
He did, but then
everybody that came up, he was just rolling them up.
Well, that too.
Go. Well, he was making no money.
Well, he also showed up 6 hours late, so he was only there for 30 minutes.
Of course.
So because apparently got into a bar fight on Bourbon Street.
Oh yeah, did it involve hot coffee?
Hot coffee, and he rolled up 7 dudes and held them there.
Wow.
Yeah, the police couldn't pull him off.
They got the jaws of life.
Yeah. Threw him in the clink. So,
wow.
Yeah, he made bail and got in for 30 minutes.
Nice.
Made $16.50.
I hear tell. The rumor mill has told me that there may have been an altercation between one Macaulay Culkin and one Paul Smackage. We won't go into it.
We'll go into it, but it was. I
heard it was epic.
I heard somebody got some footage of it. I heard it was a battle for the ages.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see what happened. We'll have to see what happened. But
so all of that happened. We got to see everybody, which is always nice, and got to see Pat Patterson, have dinner with him every night. Got to see Ziggler. Got to see the whole gang, and beyond that, it was also WrestleMania week. So we got a lot to cover here, and we don't have much time to cover it. So I think we should probably get to the nitty gritty, get into the meat of it, get into the beef. Let's get beefy. I have no idea what I'm saying right now.
Big beefy.
Beefy. Yeah. But, so let's start with NXT, because it kind of ties into who our guest is tonight. Yeah. Mm-hmm. One Aleister Black, the NXT champion, newly crowned on Saturday at NXT Takeover New Orleans.
Yeah. It was a good match. Looking forward to talking to him about that. I think we both have been fans of this guy for a little while. See big things for him, and I think it was a big step in the right direction for him to win the NXT title. I think it was probably the right time for it to happen. You always want to do it when the guy's at his hottest, I would think.
Yeah,
and it seems like that's kind of where he's at right now, and he'll get even hotter. And at some point he will.
And we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, for sure.
So there was that. We can go more in depth with him when we get him on the line. We also had young Johnny Kick Him Into Ding Ding.
Yeah.
Johnny Wrestling. Johnny Podcast.
Yeah.
Johnny Donuts.
Yeah.
Johnny High in the Sky.
Yeah.
Johnny think of something.
Johnny Come Lately.
Is New Kid in Town? Are you referencing Eagles? Wow.
Yeah.
Huh. I bet you he's probably never heard that song.
Probably not.
They had a great match. Him and Tommaso Ciampa.
Yeah.
Trying to get some heat off our backs. Ciampa. Yeah. I really enjoyed that match.
Yeah. I mean, it was so
different. So here it was so different than the previous takeover and the match with Almas.
Mm-hmm.
It was a different. This was like the blood feud, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was interesting to see that them doing that, and it was very cool.
I think in that instance too, right? It's a different kind of emotion, right?
Yeah, it has to be.
There was nothing on the line here except for both guys hate each other, and that's what you want to. And it's one of those type matches where you have to get the feel that a person would hate to lose more than they would love to win, And that is, I think they told that story well. And in like when you truly hate somebody, when you truly have a rival, you will do anything at any cost not to lose to that person, right? Because you don't want to have to live with that. And so I think they told that story. And of course, with Ciampa taunting him the entire time that he was, the time that he was gone and things like that. I think, and obviously that he turned on him when they were partners, and there was that story built in. I just think that when you have emotion, sometimes emotion's even bigger than a title, and that's why they were on last.
And I'm pretty sure that match might set the record for lowest percentage of body fat ever in a match. My God, like I want to get them a sandwich because they were dieting hard for that thing, but it paid off because everybody looked great, everybody worked great. I enjoyed it.
I'm going to have to take Ciampa under my wing and show him a little bit about bad physique heat.
Yeah, if you really want heat.
Yeah.
Real quickly, talking about, heat. Ciampa has it. He's smart. He doesn't want to get cheered, and you can tell. And I like that in his style. He doesn't try to cater to anyone. He doesn't try to pander to anyone. And that's one thing that a lot of, and I use quotes, heels do now. Uh-huh. And that doesn't make you a heel.
No, I mean, and it's like I'd said a while ago, and I stand by it. If anybody really wanted to stand out on NXT, just to be a true heel, and I'm going to tell
you who is standing out, and who is doing that outside of Ciampa. Lars Sullivan.
Uh-huh.
Watch that ladder match back. Does not play or pander to that crowd once. He just goes out and lifts people up and throws them.
Yeah.
And every time he climbed that ladder, listen to the reaction. Mm-hmm. Every time. He was the only one that had a negative reaction in a positive way, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
He got the reaction that he's going for. And sure, he's a different beast altogether because he is a beast. But dude's smart. He's working smart. He's not trying to do anything fancy. He's wrestling like an old school, heel.
Yeah.
That he could have easily wrestled in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and the 90s and now. And it's working. And there's a reason that the tried and true thing still works. And he's showing it, man.
Yeah. No, and he's got that look, and he looks like a mean guy, and he looks strong, and he looks tough, and I think that I don't know if he can do flips and stuff like that, but I think once you start doing that sort of thing, I think it takes away. I don't want to say it takes away from the way that if you look tough or not, but it gives a reason to be like, man, oh, that was pretty cool, and you don't want to have any cool qualities about you, don't want to have any redeeming qualities about you. You just want to go out there and hurt somebody and win at all costs, really.
And again, that brings my point is that when he reacts to something, he doesn't react to the crowd. He reacts toward his opponent.
Right. And we've talked about it, and I've stated before, and I think that I'm a stickler for little details, and I agree with that 100%. Like even if you have heat on your opponent as a heel and you're beating the guy down, you're trying to get some steam on him, and the guy, your opponent's fighting back and looks like there's going to be a flurry that he could come out of this. And when you cut him down, it's almost that look of panic in your eyes of like, oh shit, it almost got flipped around to me. And then you have to go straight back with intent on your opponent, where sometimes it seems people get cut down and they'll turn and look at the crowd and kind of put their hands like, looking for some sort of, I don't know, like adulation or something for coming back into it when, it should be, when it's time to get your heat, dig in and get your heat. Get it.
Here's the way I look at it. If I'm a heel, I don't want people chanting with me to one of my catchphrases.
Yeah.
And if that starts to happen, I'm changing my catchphrase. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to try and out wrestle the babyface, and I'm not going, it's, I've often had people say, the Money in the Bank ladder match, you didn't do anything. And I was like, that's the idea.
Yeah.
I used a chair and cheated to win after, not doing much because I'm a heel, and that makes you a sleazy, slimy, sneaky heel. Mm-hmm. Not everybody's going to be that. I get it, but that was the route that I thought my character would take, and I don't know. That was just one thing that really stood out to me from the ladder match was Lars Sullivan and how different his approach is.
Well, a couple of things that stood out to me, and like I said, I hate to be nitpicky or anything because obviously everybody worked hard and put their bodies on the line, and it was a good match. But if you're really being nitpicky about it, there's times where the ladder is. You're free and clear to go up and attempt to win, and instead you go do a dive. Nobody stopped you from doing it. Nobody stopped you from going up. If that's the case and it's a clear path, go up.
I will preface that by saying I'm pretty sure we did the same thing too, but we learned not to do that after seeing it back.
Right.
And going, oh, wow, that was glaring,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's some people's first ladder matches. It's this, it's, I thought a really cool moment that was coming, and all it would have taken was one little glance is when Velveteen Dream went up for the elbow off the really tall ladder.
Yeah.
It looked from the camera angle, and I doubt he was able to reach it, but it looked from the camera angle like he could. Mm-hmm. So all it would take is one quick glance, just a shake of the head like, shit, can't reach it.
Yeah.
So he drops the elbow instead.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just one little like subtle thing like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It does. You want to eat delicious? Eat a 5-star quality dinner? Of course you do. Who doesn't? But who wants to slave away in the kitchen after a long day at work? I don't. Birdman doesn't. That's where Freshly comes in. The new way to get an amazing dinner on the table in no time.
I don't like to soil my dainty hands. Then that's why I prefer their chefs send you delicious, freshly prepared meals so you can eat better without any of the work. I love not putting any work in. I can't emphasize how much I love being lazy. It's so convenient and ready to eat in only 3 minutes. Just think of all the time you'll save by not having to worry about the shopping, the chopping, or the cleanup. I have many meals that I love with Freshly, but my most favorite is the Southwest chicken, because that's Edge's favorite, and I like to sneak up to his doorstep when they're waiting there and steal them all out of his Freshly box, and then he has none, and I have them all. They taste so good.
It was you. I thought it was those damn bears. All right, check out this week's menus created by Freshly chefs and save $20 off your first order of 6 dinners plus free shipping by going to freshly.com/awesomeness. You're going to feel relieved to come home to a chef-cooked meal every night with Freshly. That's freshly.com/AWESOMENESS. That's freshly.com/awesomeness for $20 off your first order. So we talked about NXT, but we didn't even talk about Scufflemania, about WrestleMania.
Yeah, WrestleMania.
What was your take? What was your take, Birdman? I'll tell you my take after you tell me your take. Give me a take.
I'll tell you. I'll try to shut the fuck up, and I'll tell you my take. How about that?
Shut the fuck up.
Shut. Ooh. I think that it was too long. It's a long time for people to sit and watch wrestling and stay engaged the entire time. I get it. It's a huge event. I thought the card was really good. I thought pretty much every match delivered. It just, like I said, when people have been sitting that long, it seems like they just get burnt out after a certain amount of time. And, it kind of, we've talked about before in the past where sometimes really great matches don't seem as good, maybe because the crowd is not as hot as they should be, and it seemed like it could affect the way some of these matches are viewed when they were really good. I don't know.
Well, I think that's affected Reigns 2 years in a row now. It's, you want to be in the main event, but you're the main event after 6.5 hours of wrestling. That's a tough position to be in, no matter who you are. To try and keep a crowd engaged, it is too long. But I get the flip side is, you're trying to get people on the show.
Well, think about it like running a marathon, right? Think about it like running a marathon for fans, right? You're hyped. You're in there. You want to win. You have this all this adrenaline, this burst of energy. The fireworks are going off. The show's going on. Boom, the race starts. You start running. You're super into it. You're sprinting. Next thing you know, you're kind of in a jog, and you're dead tired by the end of it, right? Because you've run this marathon. That's basically what it is. Your emotions are high the entire time. You're amped up for this thing, and then you just have an adrenaline dump kind of thing.
Well, next year will be interesting depending on the weather, because if it happened this year in New York, there would have been a snowstorm. So, we were wondering last year with it being like 110 degrees and everyone in Florida sitting there in that baking sun for 7 hours. Yeah. The flip side of that is they may be sitting in a snowstorm next year. Yeah. So that could be interesting.
I thought Asuka and Charlotte had an amazing match. I thought it was one of the best women's matches I've ever seen. I thought they told a great story, and I thought I was surprised by the finish, honestly, and but in a good way. Like I like being surprised. I like it when things like that happen, and it was the right time, I think, for Asuka's streak to end. And I think that honestly, I think this will help her going forward more than it will hurt her by losing this match.
This was my favorite match on the show by a large margin. And again, everything's subjective, but I loved this match. And for everybody that's been like, so why don't you get the Asuka thing? I get it now. That was a spectacular match, and she played her part so well. I think going forward, like you said, I will get the Asuka thing even more, because now she doesn't have the streak hanging over her head where she has to wrestle like this undefeatable buzzsaw. Now she can actually be an underdog and get sympathy, and that to me is where you get layers, and that is where you can really build a character, and that is where the money is to me. So this match to me did more for her in losing than any of the year and a half or whatever it is of the streak. This one, to me, I went, oh, wow. And also, she had the perfect opponent to have this type of match, because Charlotte is an extremely physical and talented person. And what was great about this match is you had no idea who was going to win. And when the finish happened, I was shocked. Like, I got goosebumps when it happened, because it not only was the match so great, but the finish was unexpected, but perfect. I don't know. It was a great time for it, because it was so unexpected, but it wasn't unexpected like a Bill Brock 5-second, or 20-second match at Survivor Series unexpected. This was after a long, crazy, hard fought back and forth, going after the arm, Charlotte selling the arm throughout, just really, really well done. And I didn't get a chance to tell either of them or Fit, who I believe was the producer, but God, it was so good. Yeah. It was so good. And I watched it with Beth, and she was just so happy, so proud. So, she looked at me, she said, "That's the best women's match I've ever seen." And man, but I hate putting that label of best women's match. It was just a damn good match, wrestling match.
And I didn't see Asuka after, but I actually did run into Charlotte after, and I had a chance to talk with her and tell her how much I liked it. And obviously she's a super humble person, and had a nice conversation with her about it, and gave her my thoughts on it. But I was really blown away at how good that match was and the story they told. I loved the finish when she went to do the handstand for the figure eight and had to hold her other arm up because of the work. Yeah, I just thought that was a good little touch.
And I was sitting there watching it. I was like, sell the arm. And then when she did that, I went, oh my gosh. The fact that she sold the arm, I wasn't expecting her to sell it like that. That was the strength that took. Yeah. The core strength that took. That was at that point in the match, that was impressive. And this will lead and segue into another match that I was completely blown away by and didn't know what to expect, to be perfectly honest, was the mixed tag, Kurt, Ronda versus Steph and Hunter. And here's how I'm going to position this. You now have a match next year with Charlotte and Ronda that can main event WrestleMania. I honestly feel, with how that turned out, that Asuka and Charlotte could have main evented it, and everyone would have been walked home happy. Yep. But I truly believe that the climate is right, that it's finally time, and you have the right to. Those two could main event WrestleMania after seeing Ronda's performance and how well she performed. The obviously explosiveness, the athleticism and everything, but her timing and her facials was there.
Well, I mean,
that's something that you can't necessarily teach.
And we talked about it before. She's not just somebody that walked through the doors and like, okay, I'm done with MMA. This is an easy payday for me. She loves wrestling, and she's talked about wanting to do it for a long time. And you can tell the fans that people that are fans, and you could tell how much it meant to her to be out there, how seriously she took it. And here's the thing too. She seemingly didn't have any nerves. She's been under the lights before. She's been in big pressure situations before, so she knows how to handle those internally, which I think helped her during this match. But her timing was great. Like I said, the facials were great. They told a good story. I thought, I was really blown away by how well. I mean, I think with Kurt and Hunter, you knew what you were going to get, and no shock there that they were that it was good. But I think with the Ronda. I think people expected her to be good, but I don't know if they expect her to be that good.
To be that good. To be that good, yeah. And Stephanie, too. Stephanie
great,
pumped her ass off in that match. Yeah. And she was there for every little bit she needed to be. Everyone just played their parts to perfection. It was a well-crafted, well-put-together match. Really, really well done. Just on all fronts, it was just really, really good. It was really entertaining. I was like surprised. I was laughing at times at it, know, but in a good way, just because it was so well done. And I truly think next year, I'm calling it now, you can have Charlotte and Ronda Rousey main event WrestleMania, and I truly think that's your main event next year. Mm-hmm. I really do. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. And we've seen the things that the women's division has done this year as far as firsts go, and who's to say that it shouldn't happen? And it should. The timing is pretty good for it. Yeah.
The timing's right. The reactions now to the main event sometimes are showing that, hey, maybe something on last that's different is a good thing. You know what I'm saying? And that's not to knock Asuka out of possibly being that in some form or fashion either. Sure. I think there's some really cool ways they can go about it. So I'm on the Asuka train. I get it. That I'm going back to that match again, aren't I? Anyway, I just thought it was a great match. I thought the mixed tag was great. I thought the triple threat for the IC title, those are hard to do, man, especially straight out of the gate like that. But I really, really enjoyed that. Some creative stuff by all three guys.
And it's hard, too, when you have two baby faces against one heel. Makes it a little bit hard.
Yeah.
It
is, but they did it. They were able to pull it off, and they really did some creative stuff. The
blackout,
that to the back to Finn's back, just really, really cool creative stuff.
Yeah. What did you think of the AJ Nakamura match?
I thought it was good. It was good. I think the Wrestle Kingdom one, it's going to be tough to reach. And I think
here's the thing with me too, right? Like when I was watching it, and I was. Obviously, and this is what I was talking about, how sometimes the crowd can affect the perception of a match, and I think it happened during this one a little bit. I think that's where it started to happen, where the crowd was getting fatigued. And especially when it's two guys that are baby faces, and there's the title on the line, but emotionally what else is going on? You know what I mean? And I think that what they did after the match was meant more than anything they did in the match. And I think that is now gonna, and I was trying to position and I hate to put myself over, but I'm going to, when I was thinking about the babyface match that I had for the world title with Randy Orton when we wrestled at the Over the Limit. And I was thinking, well, what was the difference between that and this, other than one was at Over the Limit, one was at WrestleMania, right? So when I was thinking about it, is the emotion was not good guy, bad guy, heel babyface. The emotion was this guy that we've wanted to see at this level for 17 years, who's been scratching and clawing, finally won it, and then had it snatched from a guy who's been pegged as the golden boy for years and years, who's been molded to be a top superstar, gets it back after a couple days. People didn't want to see me lose it yet. That was the emotion that, can he get it back? Can he get back to that level already so quickly after he worked so hard to get there? People liked Randy, they liked me, but they didn't like what happened. That was the emotion. On this one, they liked both guys. They're either just kind of choosing a side, right? There's nothing else. And that's
or you're not choosing a side.
Right.
And you're just sitting there watching.
Yeah.
Instead of reacting.
Right. So to me, now I can really sink my teeth into this, because I think that Nakamura now is going to do better work. I think he's going to work with more of a chip on his shoulder. I think he's going to work more aggressively. He works aggressive anyway, and I think he's going to have a mean streak that he hasn't had before, and I think it's going to amp up, and I think that he's done himself a huge favor by the aggression that he had after the match, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think the dynamic of what the situation they were put in at Mania works in Japan. I think in the U.S. it is still different, and I think him turning heel was the right thing to do. I think now you'll see a different side, and I really want to see that guy succeed, because I truly do think he does something way different than everybody else. So. I think that was the way to go, and I think we're all going to be treated to some pretty cool stuff between those two going forward. With Nakamura as the heel. I tell you what, the Taker Cena thing, I'm confused.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's even like the sitting in the crowd and the running them back, and then just was it a 5-minute match or something? Was it?
Yeah, I guess all told it was a little confusing. Yeah, I think maybe a lot of people feel the same way. I'm not sure what the circumstances were for it, but I mean, who knows going into it what limitations there are or anything like that. But man, there's an opportunity to have a dream match at WrestleMania, and it felt lost somehow. I don't. Or is it something that maybe is it something they go back to next year and do it the traditional sense, where it's like, maybe seen as like, well, you didn't answer me, I wasn't ready to wrestle, I was out there in my street clothes, like the whole thing, it could be something where now you're getting a year build to it, that maybe he's calling him out for a year, I don't know, but I'm just I'm trying to put a positive spin on something, but it's that it doesn't.
It was just odd, I guess.
It's a little odd.
Is really what it was for me. It was just odd. There was another point I was going to make, but you cut me off, and now I forget. So I don't know. That just I expected one of those Rock Hogan type moments, and there's some cool stuff leading up to it, and I actually like the idea of not getting the answer and things like that, but I don't know, the sitting in the crowd, and then the I don't know. It was different. I mean, I'll say that.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed the build up to it, actually, because I thought the card was stacked enough that you didn't have to announce it, and I thought it would be something cool and different that we hadn't seen. So in that aspect, I did, and maybe, I don't know, like I said, the kind of position that it wasn't really a match. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how to look at it.
We don't know, Bird. We'll have to wait and see. We'll just enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah, brother.
Brother Bird.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff, Bird. I don't know.
Yeah.
So what'd you think of the finish of the main event?
I was another one that I was shocked. I think much like a lot of people had, I was surprised by it, and like I said, that's not always a bad thing. I think that it's weird because like when I think that they were the same thing. Like the crowd was now Reigns has been in a tough position kind of 2 years in a row at the end of a long night, and those elbows that seemingly open people up. I'm just wondering at the end of it if he had maybe done like if it had been the other way around. After that whole thing, after he lost, if he had ended up somehow left Brock laying, just to make it a little different, put a little bit of, I don't know, just spitballing, but just trying to think of how, because we've seen him do that where he just leaves people laying, right? So,
yeah, I agree. I think the flip side is if you see him standing again at the end, the people boo again. He's in a tough position, but I personally would have put the title on him, but. There you have it. Well, that's our take on WrestleMania and NXT Takeover. And I know all kinds of other stuff happened. There was House of Hardcore. There was Ring of Honor. There was some other stuff. I know there was WrestleCon. There was this, that. We inducted the Dudley Boys. How about that? We didn't even talk about that.
No,
had a fun time doing that. It was a lot of fun. It was good to see those guys.
Yeah.
It was the first time that the six of us were all together in one place in like almost 20 years, which is insane. Or at least on screen together, I think, because if we'd all been in matches, we hadn't all been in the same match together since I think TLC 2 or 3. I don't know.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Long time.
Somebody will do the math out there. Somebody will do the math.
Yep.
So that all happened. We got Aleister Black on the show, straight off of his NXT Championship victory over Cien Almas, who we don't give enough credit to. That dude's good.
Yeah, he's a good wrestler. He is. He's got a great good persona. Looks like a heel. So yeah, I think he's also very talented.
Yeah. There you go, Bird. All right. Well, I think it's probably time we flapped it enough. Let's get to Aleister and see what this guy's got to say.
Yeah, let's listen to Aleister Black. Here we go. There's a new boss in town, Edge.
Oh, yeah?
At Buffalo Wild Wings, and he deals in bacon, brother. It's the Bacon Boss Burger. Ooh, Paul Smackage likes that Bacon Boss Burger. He likes to roll people up with one hand, and eat that Boss Burger with the other one, brother. Featuring bacon 3 different ways and a blanket of white cheese sauce.
Ooh, I like that you said blanket. And he's joined by other new favorites like the smothered cheese steak quesadilla, sweet chili shrimp, and Alaska cod classic. All pair perfectly with the Sam 76, a fruity ale with the crisp finish of a lager.
Hurry in today and try them all before they're gone at Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports.
We actually timed that out. Available for a limited time while supplies last.
Please drink responsibly. You're comfortable with awkwardness?
Oh, yeah, I'm very comfortable with awkwardness, 100%.
You know what? Yeah, if you're a wrestler, you have to be comfortable with awkwardness. I mean, think about it. Because when I'm 17 years old, first time I'm going out to the ring, and I don't know, I'm just like, I'm wearing spandex. This is so weird. I just felt awkward. I mean, it's an awkward thing if you sit back and think about it until you get confident with it.
Well, speak for yourself, because I had a dashing outfit, coming out for the first time. I had these Sabu looking pants, and I had my Hayabusa toe shoes, the martial arts one with the double toe.
Nice.
And I had the
tabby boots.
Wrapped up. Yeah, I had my hands wrapped up with boxing reps. Dude, I looked badass. Problem was, it was 100 pounds at most. So,
Well, you see, now that was the problem too. I was about 100 pounds at most wearing spandex. So yeah, it wasn't pretty.
And the thing is too, like when
spandex isn't supposed to be baggy,
right? And, when you're starting out too, right? Like on those small shows, and you're already awkward and nervous, and then you can see every single person's face in the crowd too, right? It's not like wrestling in front of thousands of people where you can't really see faces. You can see and hear every single person. That's awkward.
Well, I think I made my debut in front of 50 people. So there was 50 people being awkward in a country that doesn't really appreciate professional wrestling. So with a guy that looked like a Japanese martial artist with no real good, proper training, walking out there going I don't even know what I'm doing, but hey, this is cool. Happy to be here, guys.
That's funny.
Well, explain that though, man, because coming from where it's not like a lot of pro wrestlers, are Dutch. So, how does that work? Explain how that works, because we've always said it was hard from Canada. And that's the birthplace of Bret Hart and Owen Hart and all of these things. But it was still difficult to kind of break down those doors. So how did that work?
So I started training back in 2000. And I originally got trained in Germany and a little bit in a place called The Hague. That's a place in the Netherlands. And we had to venture out to England and Germany to kind of travel to get our training done, to kind of, own our skills a little bit, because there was no real training in the Netherlands. So we had to seek it out. So we were trained by more old German catch wrestlers, and more of the at the moment more popular indie guys like Chris Hero would be on his first run in the German indies. Mike Quackenbush would come over. I trained with Johnny Kidd for a long time, and just a lot of old school German guys as well that trained us. Weren't very eager to train us because we were a bunch of 100-pound kids, as I can only describe it, begging people to train us, basically. There were no training schools. We didn't have you pay this guy $150 a week, and it's not like it's now. And it was very difficult to get training. It was even more difficult to get on shows. So we really had to put a lot of time and effort into it. We were at it 7 days a week, in between studying for school and planning all these trips so we can get a grasp of wrestling. And it was guys like myself, a guy named Tangwa, Emil Sutoci, Wesley Crouton, Fritz Castellan, all these Dutch kids basically that wanted training. And we traveled all over Europe to just get a little, like an hour here, 2 hours there with Robbie Brookside. Then there was a seminar with Doug Williams, and then we tried to get guys over to get training from guys like Carsten Kretschmer and just all these old school German guys and some of the older British guys like Johnny Kidd and Johnny Saint, just to get a big flavored dish of all these different styles and eras of professional wrestling in our system. And once that finally started going a little bit, 2-3 years later, we started our own company in the Netherlands called Pro Wrestling Holland, and that still exists to this day. And, we started promoting our own events. And before that, we had a company called FCW, Freestyle Championship Wrestling in Holland. That was the first ever company. And they were getting in also like a bunch of old German wrestlers and English wrestlers and a bit of the more ex-ECW, ex-WWE wrestlers, just to get some exposure. But, man, that was tough. It was really tough, especially for someone to break out and make it all the way to the WWE.
What was it that the kind of like that? What was the moment where you decided, no, I'm going to go for this. I'm going to try to make this my living, what I want to do with my life. It always fascinates me when there's people from different countries and that sort of thing, that like how you got exposed to it. Like, what was the first time you saw it? What did you think the first time you saw it? And like how, like, were you staying up late at night to watch it on TV? Like what was your kind of exposure to it?
My first ever exposure to professional wrestling is I'm sitting on the couch with my dad, and we had this channel called Eurosport. Uh-huh. And my dad's just flicking through the channels, and he's stuck on what I can, in my head, this is what I remember. So I don't even know if it actually happened. But in my head, I remember seeing Yokozuna kicking money out of the hands of the $1 Million Man. And it was a split second. It was literally 5 seconds, because my parents weren't into wrestling. And he's just flicking through the channels. I'm like, what's that? And that little image that resonated with me for a couple of years. And then we got New Japan Pro Wrestling on television. And once I saw New Japan Pro Wrestling, I mean, I'm 6 years old at this time, so I have no idea what the difference is between WWE, New Japan Pro Wrestling, or anything for that. I mean, boxing looked like pro wrestling to me. When you're 6 years old, two dudes fighting is two dudes fighting. Yeah. But I knew that it was like, wow, and I was hooked. You know what I mean? I saw guys like Liger and Jericho, and like I saw all these Japanese wrestlers growing up, and eventually that turned into WCW, because we had a hint of WCW in Holland as well for maybe 6 months, and I did stay up every night. We only had one television, so when my parents, every once in a while, they knew, like, it was every Friday night, I think. Yeah, I think it was every Friday night. So after school, I did all my stuff, and it would air really late, because there wasn't really a time slot, because again, wrestling wasn't popular in the Netherlands, and it would air like 11:30, 12 something, and like I made a deal with my parents, if I did some chores, that I could sleep on the couch and I could watch wrestling, and then the next day, obviously, everything would turn back to normal. But yeah, I remember very, very, very vividly that I made plans with my parents, like, no, I'll do the garbage, and I'll clean the dishwasher, and I'll do this, and I'll do the dishes myself, and I'll stack up all the furniture and whatnot. If I can just have that half hour of wrestling, and I'll sleep on the couch, and I'll do whatever it takes so I can watch wrestling.
Yeah, to barter to watch it. But I think at some point we all had to, it connected with all of us for one reason or another. And anybody that we talk to, they seem to be these kind of kindred souls all across the world. Like, you're in Holland, we're in Canada, and you just think about all the people all over the world that have managed to find themselves in this place, and just from a clip, or just from, because I can remember the first thing I saw, it was Hogan cutting a promo, and I went, oh my God, what is this? Yeah.
It's, I think as an individual as well, to be in professional wrestling, you got to be different. It takes a special kind of human being to be in professional wrestling. I wouldn't necessarily say eccentric, but maybe to an extent I am. But I definitely think that it takes a special soul, a special human being to be either a wrestling fan or a professional wrestler. We're definitely a different breed of human beings. And it's like you said, like there's one thing that like hooks you, and it's like in that instant, at least that's what it did for me. Like I knew I was like this. I have to do this. Like there is no possible way that I'm not going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. I remember telling my high school teacher when I was failing in school, because I was definitely not a good student at all, and she was like, well, what do you want to do with your life? And I looked her dead serious in the eye and I said, I want to be a professional wrestler. And she's like, well, then you got to find out something to make that happen, because this is clearly not working for you.
Well, what's cool is that she actually said that instead of saying, don't do it, because a lot of teachers would just go, well, that's ridiculous. So the fact that she even said that was cool.
Yeah. She was really cool about it. No, she definitely didn't mock it. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know how it was ever for you, but just like everything they taught me in school just never resonated with me. And it wasn't that like I wasn't interested in the content, but where a lot of kids were, interested in like what's going to happen, what college am I going to go to, what study am I going to do, what am I do with my life. I was more of it like, man, what's the universe like? How many stars are there? And why is the color red? You know what I mean? Like I was always into different things. I was very much into more like esoteric stuff as well. And I always wanted to read about the occult. And I kind of feel that like having an interest in like occult things kind of goes hand in hand with pro wrestling, because, well, especially where I come from, it's like this little like niche thing that like not a lot of people know about, and it's kind of a weird interest to have. And I know all these like weird interests that I had. There's never anything resonated with what I want to do in school. So I was definitely not a good kid in school at all.
You said something before about being, feeling, that you were a little eccentric and you needed to be a different kind of person or whatever to be to get into wrestling. And I believe that as well. And it does take a special kind of person to do the schedule and to perform at a high level on a nightly basis. And for me personally, it filled like, to me, I was a shy kid and I was kind of a nervous kid, and it filled a void for me. Like when I watched these guys on TV, it represented something that I wished I could be, something I wanted to be. So it's almost like I was afraid to talk in front of people, in front of big groups. So I was like, well, man, how could I cut a promo if I'm wrestling, if I'm afraid to talk in front of people? So when I started training, I just, like I said, it kind of, I started to become the characters that I watched and that I wanted to be. So I don't know if it was the same way with you. No,
definitely. Like I found solace in wrestling. I think I I was a very anxious and somewhat heartbroken kid. And wrestling was the only thing that like resonated with me, and I could find, like I said, my solace in it. And a lot of times when things weren't so good mentally, or like feeling on the inside wasn't great, wrestling was always there to pick me up, and I would watch wrestling. I would feel better, and I could literally get sucked up in wrestling and forget about everything. And even when I was training myself and performing and like competing and stuff like that, it gave me something to do with all that like negativity, with all like build up anger and stuff from the past. It gave me a road to walk, if that makes any sense. It definitely, like I said, I think solace is the good word to describe it.
It makes perfect sense, because I've often had people ask me over the years, what is the fascination? And you said it perfectly. It's that get away from the everyday problems. It's forget about whether it's the boss at work, whether it's the bully at school, whether it's what's happening with your parents, whether what your relationship is with your brothers and sisters, whatever it is, that always took me away and made me stop thinking about that stuff and just have fun. And anything that can make you feel that way, to me, it's an art in some form or another. So that's what it always meant to me. But, I want to ask you another thing, because we've talked about how kind of wrestling fans are fringe and almost outsiders at times. And a lot of characters, actually not a lot of characters in wrestling are kind of fringe and outsider, but yours is. And yours is a different presentation altogether. You know, sure, there's similarities to Undertaker, there's similarities to the Brood, but it's distinctly your own thing. And it feels to me like you had this all together well before NXT.
Yeah, this was a very big part of my character before coming to NXT. I mean, when we start out wrestling, you know, you either try to be the good guy or you try to be the bad guy, and there's certain ways to go about that. And one of them is I'm going to be trying to be the good guy, and you come out and, hey, guys, cheer for me. And if you're the bad guy, you come out and you go like, oh, I don't like any of you people. Oh, my opponent is this, and you get booze. But after a couple of years, it didn't resonate with who I was as a human being. And I kind of one day looked in the mirror and like, man, you grew up in such a different way, and like you were into so much different music. And I was a kid that was like very much into like hardcore and like black metal, and everything was always kind of like counterculture with everything I did. I was like, why not use that? Why not use that? Why not use that? Like, even when I look back at my family and what my family used to tell me, I mean, I was always kind of a little bit of the outsider in a good way, not in a negative way, but I was definitely always the odd one out. So, and I was like, well, okay, then that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start being that counterculture character, and I'm going to be this anti-hero persona that uses his mentality that he got from hardcore music and black metal music and his interests in like occult things. And I came out and my whole attitude was different, and it just worked. And for 8-9 years long, that built, and I perfected it, and I made it something else, and I sculpted it, and then it was brought into NXT where they amplified it.
Well, yeah, you now have a platform to be able to have that cool rising up out of the stage and the music.
Yes.
And, the package is already there, but they can present it as a star. And but to your credit, man, there's not a lot of people that can pull off what you're doing, because you don't pander to the crowd. You go out and you wrestle this highly physical but cool style, and people are just gravitating to it because it is different. And there's been very few people over the generations that have been able to pull off the kind of thing you're doing right now, and Undertaker is one of them. So it's just a really, really cool, I don't want to say presentation, because that makes it feel like it's fake, and I don't think it is with you.
I think to kind of echo what Adam's saying there, I think that it has a lot to do with your real personality, and this stuff that you're not trying to be this person. You are this person, and you're just amplifying it. And I think that you have the way that you present it, like I said, you're very stoic at times, and you you're confident, and you have a lot of poise, and I think that resonates with fans as well, as far as, you're letting that kind of lets them in a different way, rather than going out and clapping your hands or throwing your hands up, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. No, well, first and foremost, thank you for the high praise. That is really, that means a lot coming from you guys. I think wrestling, to an extent, is always going to be a reflection of what society is and what society wants. And I think my character in this day and age, where I would almost this might sound weird, but I think I have a point about what I'm about to say. But we have this like hipstery kind of culture where like retro things are cool again, and people have like an ironic mindset on everything. And like we train people nowadays with social media that they have their own platform. They have their own like fame, if that makes any sense. Like we train people that their attention is valuable and should be noted. And I think that with my character, that presents a certain, I wasn't expecting this to happen. And I think that's what draws people in, because they can resonate with it, but they can also hint at it and not fully understand it, but still walk with it. I hope I don't sound too vague. In my head, it sounds great. But I think, like I said, I think wrestling and society reflect each other at times, and I think I'm a perfect reflection to an extent for what a certain group of, let's say, people and teenagers feel and wish to express, and they express that through me.
Here's what can be great about wrestling when it's working and firing on all cylinders. It can be ahead of the reflection of society, and you get Steve Austin and you get characters like that. Or it can be behind, and we're very dated, and you see things that are, 2 to 3 years behind the curve. But it feels like this character is, like you said, there's now people gravitating to this. There's obviously a lot of people out there that feel this way, that that enjoy this look, this music, all of these things, and bringing the underground above ground a little bit more. Yeah. And it's cool when wrestling can do that.
100%. When Triple H asked me, he said, like, what do you want to be? And I said to him, I said, like, I want to be Motorhead. I want to be Iron Maiden. I want to be Black Sabbath. I want to represent all the music that kids use to rebel against society and kind of go, you know what? We don't have to look like you to be successful. We can look like this and act out this way and still have a successful life and a fulfilling life, more importantly. And I wanted that to be presented. That's why the whole moniker, no man's ever truly good, no man's ever truly evil. The reason I came up with that is because you don't have to necessarily agree with anything that I'm doing, and that's fine, because as an individual, as a human being, you are very entitled to each and every opinion that you have, and you're going to come across things that some people will like in life and some people don't. And that's the case with Aleister Black as well. It's like, you're going to like certain things that I do, but there's also going to be a group of people that are going to go, nah, this guy's not for me. And that's fine. That's totally fine. You don't have to agree with me. You can do whatever you want, and that still makes you you. And that's fine. That's good.
Yeah, it's choice. And with anything, especially in the arts or entertainment, everything's so subjective, right? Because you talked about music, and all the music you said, I love. And I would try and, when I thought of my character, I would think of, okay, what is the rated R superstar in terms of wrestling? Okay, well, when he's the ultimate opportunist, he's kind of like the Guns N' Roses. He's the sleazy, kind of in the gutter, do anything to get ahead kind of guy. And that's how I always related everything we did. When we did The Brood, that's how I looked at it. When anything we did, I either would think in terms of movie characters or music. And I don't know if that was the same for you, Jay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now that I think about it, I think I was more like the boy band, like Backstreet Boys or NSYNC, that just got on your nerves and annoyed the shit out of people, that they hated you so much because you're like, wow, why don't these boy bands go away? And I think that was me.
Hey, well, fair enough. And that clearly worked. Great balance. It clearly worked.
So you said 8 years, kind of bouncing around Europe and getting training from various people and soaking up, basically making your own little wrestling, petri dish. And how does it all come about that you finally find yourself having these conversations with the WWE /NXT Triple H? Man,
and it's such a mind trip sometimes when I just think about that, because that's the question that, like, I ask myself a lot as well. Like, how did this all come to be? Why me? Why was I the one successful? Why did I break away from the mold? Why, And apart from, I think personally, having a good attitude towards this industry, understanding that it doesn't owe me anything, allowed me to keep pushing. Because my mindset was always don't think locally, think globally. So set out a goal, set out the highest goal you can do, and work towards that goal. Don't get sidetracked on what happens to you during your trips, because none of that's important. Nothing like that is important. Every stage you're going to come across is a stage you're going to have to do. No matter how small or insignificant it may look, and no matter how long you have to travel for it, it's going to be worth it in the end. And that's what I kept in my head all the time. And every year I told myself, well, it's not going to get any better. And then all of a sudden I find myself in the United Kingdom, and I'm wrestling for some of the bigger promotions in the United Kingdom. I'm like, well, if this is it, then this is it. And then all of a sudden I'm wrestling in Italy, and I'm wrestling in Switzerland, and I'm wrestling in Poland, and in Italy, and Spain. And I'm like, wow, this is getting crazier. But if this is it, then this is it. It's not going to get any better. And then all of a sudden there's an invitation from Japan, and they're like, hey, we want you and your tag partner to come over to Japan and, do your thing. And Japan was always my goal. And it just kept on going and going until I, at one point, I was like, nah, it's definitely not going to get any crazier. And I think it was 2012, 13-ish, where NXT definitely became a bigger player. And I some of my friends went there, and I was like, wow, this is, the industry is changing. Like, some of my friends that 10 years ago would have never had a shot are all of a sudden featured on these like pay-per-views, and they're making waves, and they're doing great things and doing really good for themselves. I wonder, but I kind of tucked that away because I was still heading towards, difficult. I was wanted to be in New Japan. And then I think it was 2014. I just finished a tour in the United States, and I got an email from Drake Younger, NXT referee, and he messaged me. He's like, "Hey, William Regal is looking for you. Do you have a cell phone, or do you have an email, something I can give him?" And at the same time, Cassius Ohno messaged me literally a day later. "Hey, William Regal's looking for you." I was like, "What's going on here? This is crazy." And I started talking to Mr. Regal and to Kenyon Seaman, and it all started like rolling. And I was like, oh, this is not happening. This is crazy. And then I had a meeting with them in end of 2015 in England, Manchester, and they were like, "Well, we got something for you if you're up for it." And I was like, whoa, I was blown away by that, because I never thought in a million years that someone with my my stature and my looks and everything that made me would ever have a shot at being in NXT, or let alone the WWE. And I eventually put my signature on the contract, and now I'm talking to Edge and Christian. So it's been a ride.
It's pretty crazy. So at this whole time when you said you were over there, like when you said you were touring in the U.S. and you went to Manchester, were you still living? Were you living in the UK, or were you still living at home, or where were you at that point?
No. I had a home in Amsterdam. Yeah. I had my own house, my own studio, and I lived there. And I would do tours in the United Kingdom, and then tours in Germany. Germany and England were the main place I toured, and then Japan and the United States. But all from my headquarters in Amsterdam.
That's cool.
Oh yeah,
nice. Well, so you sign the contract, you make your debut in NXT against Almas, and I'll get to the fact that it seems to come full circle that you win the title from Almas. But before all that happens, you win, 3 NXT awards, your breakout star, your male performer of the year, and rivalry of the year with Velveteen Dream. Like,
yes,
that's all in 1 year, dude.
Yeah,
that's probably the best first year in that company I can think of anybody, and that's some stout company.
And as you say, it's crazy. But not once did my mindset drift to, well, boys, I've done all that. My mindset each and every time, again, I got somewhere was calm down, work harder. Even now with winning the NXT Championship, the first thing when I walked out after I spoke to Coach Bloom and Coach Taylor and Coach Michaels and Triple H was like, well, got to step up my game. I got to work harder. That's literally the mindset I have continuously. I never want to become complacent. And a lot of, like, my mom sometimes worries. She's like, do you enjoy this process? Do you enjoy all these accomplishments? And I do, but there is a big part of me that goes, I need to work harder. Now I represent this. I got to work harder. I'm representing such I got to work harder because now there's more eyes on me. And I think that's been my mindset ever since the day I started.
Yeah, I think that's a smart way to go about it. I think that there'll be a time come where you can sit back and be like, man, I accomplished some stuff,
Yeah,
but while you're in it, you have to focus on the task at hand, focus on the goals. Or what are your goals that you want to be? I've always said too, like getting there and staying there are two different things, right? You have to step up because if you're not going to do it, there's going to be 100 guys behind you that want it. So you just got to want it. You got to keep wanting it more than them. So it's a good way to look at it.
That's 100% how I feel. And that roster, especially the current NXT roster, is stacked. Every guy in there, every guy who's working the pay-per-views, working television, man, they've all earned their spots. They're like the hardest working guys that I've seen. And I sometimes go like, man, how can I compare to these dudes? Because they're all so good. And then, what the Performance Center brings out themselves, man, there's guys in there like, Tino Sabatelli and Riddick Moss. Man, those dudes are they're incredible athletes, and I have high expectations and high hopes for those guys. And when they start breaking out more, it's just, man, the business, the industry will always keep on rolling, whether I'm in it or not. And for me, it's just keep riding that wave, and even if you fall off, get back on that board and just, pedal to another wave and just jump on it again and just keep going, because of one day it's all going to be gone.
I like the surfing analogy. I appreciate that. That was a good one. Here's the deal. And it's a great mentality that you have, because getting there is one thing. As Jay said, staying there is another, but beyond staying there and exceeding there and getting to the places that, whether anyone wants to admit it or not, they want to be the top guy. And if they don't want to be the top guy or girl, get out, because you're just getting in the way. Yeah. And you need that mentality to exceed within that place, because you have a locker room full of very, very talented alpha males. And on the flip side, in the women's, locker room. So you have to maintain that kind of razor sharp mentality in order to do it. And it sounds like you got it, man.
I hope I do. See, I can't even say that I do, because I feel that even saying that I do would be a sign of complacentness, and I don't want that. But I appreciate you saying that, and I like I said, I just want to work hard.
I can say it for you.
Okay. I just love this business a lot, and like I said, it's helped me through a lot, and it's been the single greatest thing that I've ever done in my life, hands down.
Wow. So you also, before wrestling, you did some kickboxing and things like that as well, correct?
Yes. So because I saw professional wrestling, and like I said, if you're 5, 6 years old, like whatever you see happen in a ring is two dudes fighting. So in my mind, it's like, I got to start doing this. This is what I want to do. So I told my parents, I was like, right, I want to do martial arts, because I thought it was martial arts. So at the age of 5, 6 years old, I started doing judo and karate. And then by the time I was 9, 10-ish, obviously understanding that there was a difference, luckily, there was a difference between martial arts and professional wrestling. And I started growing a bigger interest as well in the martial arts itself. And, the Netherlands is a famous country for a couple of things, and one of them is kickboxing.
Right.
The best fighters of the world all come out of the Netherlands. And I wanted to do kickboxing because it just resonated with me as well. And I started doing kickboxing and an Indonesian martial art called Pencak Silat. And I just kept doing that because it helped me develop the style that you see now. I was never really great at competition. I had a couple fights, but it wasn't like anything fantastic. I just did it because I wanted to do it. I wanted to experience that level of competition. But the training aspect of it, the conditioning aspect of it, is something that to this day I still keep. Like, I still try to at least hit the bags or hit the pads 2-3 times a week, because for my conditioning, it is, and my explosiveness, and just basically the stem that is Aleister Black's style, which is, my style is like it's all martial arts based.
Well, it makes your style completely different too. Your match is not going to look like anyone else's on the show. And, so it's cool to be able to have all of those experiences to be able to dip into and pull from to make not only your entrance and the music and the look different, but your style it matches it, I guess, is the best way I can think to put it.
Yeah, like I said, it's the base of everything I've ever done. And I still think about how I can evolve my style into the next thing and how I can make my footwork look like this or get a certain technique and implement that into the current existing style. I just like to evolve what I do continuously and like at least every once in a while bust out something new.
I appreciate that you said footwork because that to me is the most important aspect of what it is that we did and what you do. And it's the basis of everything. And I think a lot of people lose track of that. And I can always tell, and Jay and I have talked about this a lot, I can immediately tell how someone's going to be in the ring by their footwork. By the first step they take, I'm like, oh, this is going to be awkward. This is going to be clunky. And you can tell when someone has good footwork or has been trained properly. It starts with the feet and everything else follows.
It's funny, too, how you said earlier about wrestlers being a different breed and being eccentric and all those things and everybody kind of having their own thing. Like Adam just said, we would discuss footwork a lot. And the weird thing is whenever I'd see somebody work for the first time, I wasn't necessarily like watching the moves and that. A lot of times I was looking at their feet.
Yep.
And I would be I'd be watching the way they moved in the ring, and then I would kind of work my way up from the feet. That's how I would start watching. And that's a very important thing. For positioning and all those sorts of things in a match. And you could tell right away, like, what kind of style you can have in the match to me by looking at somebody's footwork.
Yeah, no, 100% agreed. I'd say that my footwork greatly improved when I started working with Mike Quackenbush. Mike Quackenbush showed me all these different roles and ways of implementing my feet into the mat and around the mat, and then combining it with my training in martial arts, because martial art is 90% footwork. Like your movement to either attack or avoid or dodge is what's going to make it. Not the way you put your fists up or the way you swing your fists or the way you raise your knees. It's all about where you position your feet. So I used all those elements to implement that into my professional wrestling style as well.
Let me ask a question. Did you have any kind of when you came over and you started in NXT? Was it a big adjustment for you? Was it a difficult adjustment for you? Not only in the ring or the style. Was there even kind of a culture shock to you, moving over to a different country?
Yeah, to a certain extent. Like the wrestling was definitely different. Like if you're on the independent scene, you pick up certain habits, and the first couple months was definitely based on stop doing certain habits and reforming and kind of like basing my style again back to its original format, which I'm very thankful for. It was a big adjustment. At one point, there's been moments where I walked out the performance center going like, I have no idea what I'm doing. But that's all part of the process. And once I started to realize that and I accepted that, everything became a lot easier. I credit Terry Taylor for that because he helped me every step of the way. He's been my mental support on that. And the culture wise, I've been to the United States a couple times at this point. I've had like, I don't know, 6-7 tours at this point. I would stay for anywhere for 3 weeks to month and a half at the time. So I was quite used to the United States, but obviously when you're there for such a short amount of time, you don't really get to experience everything. And when I had to get a house, that's a different process. I had to get bank cards. That's a different process. I had to get a car, different process, licensing, everything was different. And then obviously the climate here in terms of how people think is very, very different. American people are different than European people and have their own ways and have their own way of thinking and approaching life and society. And especially where I live, Orlando, every once in a while, I'll get a weird look because I'm, pretty heavily tattooed, and people will go, Oh, but apart from that, the adjustment to American life was quite easy. The adjustment to WWE NXT was very difficult.
I got to tell you, it didn't show. It really didn't. You know, and it kind of, I wanted to ask the question because, like we said, you kind of had this, you already had this thing going on before you got to NXT, but how involved were you in terms of name, music, things like that? Because that was something I was always very hands-on with, and it seems like you're the kind of guy that would be too.
The name was kind of a collaboration between me and Triple H. I think when I originally started pitching some ideas, he was seeing where I was going with it, and I think Triple H has just a really sharp mind for these kind of things. And he was like, "Well, what do you think about Aleister Black?" And I was like, "That sounds great. That sounds amazing." And we kind of set on that. And then when it came to the music, you know, a CFO and all those guys, and Neil from W Music, they I gave them examples of what I think Aleister Black's music should be, and they let me write the lyrics, which was really cool. And then Brandon from Incendiary wrote the lyrics, which is really cool. Sang the lyrics, and Incendiary is one of my favorite hardcore bands, so that was a trip as well. So they had me pretty involved in the whole process from what I was to what I became in NXT.
That's always, and it shows. It really does. Like, you can tell when someone walks out and they're comfortable in what they're doing. It translates to the audience. It really does. And I was actually there for your first NXT match. And I
remember because I saw you there with your wife.
We came out and sat in the audience.
And I was very,
I remember sitting there watching,
hi.
And it might have been a disconnect from the character, right?
Well, not as I'm coming out, but I saw you backstage, and I wanted to say hi, but I was kind of going, "Oh, it's probably busy, and I'm just some unknown, doofy-looking kid with tattoos. I'm going to focus on my match." So
yeah, well, one thing you'll learn about us is, like, it doesn't matter who you are. If you come up to us and talk to us, there's, you know, we're going to talk to you. But so I watched it that night, and I was really impressed. And Beth and I both said, "Oh, that was cool. That was a really cool, different thing." And you know, just to see it grow throughout just a year and see where you've taken it. You got, like you said, a stacked roster down there. Yep. Who do you see, and just you're chomping at the bit to go, okay, like, I can't wait to get Gargano. I can't wait. Like, who are the guys that you, without alienating anyone, that the first ones that pop into your head?
You just named him, Gargano. I would love to go get, like, Gargano, like Johnny, like he honors his name, Johnny Wrestling. That dude is a machine. I've known Johnny from the independent scene, and he was always a standout to me. He was always one of those guys that put maximum effort, never cutting corners on any match I've ever seen him do. And the same goes for Tommaso. Like, if you look back at what they did at Takeover, if I would have to give anyone a blueprint of modern day professional wrestling storytelling, I would show them that. That was beautiful. That was truly something unique, and those two guys. And again, that's definitely not to undermine anyone, but if I have to pick two guys right now, it would be either of them.
You and Ciampa would have a very physical, interesting match that would be completely different than you and Johnny. So,
yes.
Yeah, I'd pay to see both. What about you, Birdman?
Yeah, I right now I'm thinking about the dynamic with, you know, I think Ciampa stands out to me on that roster just because of, you know, being kind of a pure heel with no redeeming qualities whatsoever. Doesn't care about any flash. Doesn't really care. He just wants to hurt people and win, and that's it. So I think with that and with your demeanor and, you know, the way that you know, like I've said before, to me when I see you, it's poise. That's the thing that sticks out to me. Like when you're sitting, you know, sitting with your legs crossed in the middle of the ring, just kind of waiting it out for the guy to make his move, and then, you know, with no rush to get there. It's going to happen when it's going to happen type thing. And I just think that the dynamic between those two, like, I think that would be something that I want to see right now.
Well, like I said, I would love it.
So, bigger picture, not to look past what you're doing now. What do you envision for yourself? Like, I was always one of those guys that, if I envision it, I try and make it happen. Where do you want to see yourself someday?
WrestleMania. That's that one picture I have in my head, especially now coming here. Like when I had that first match and I had that taste of like what WWE brings to the table, and I saw that grand stage the day after, I was like, right there, that's it. That's the one. That's what I'm aiming for.
Yeah, I was.
And I know it sounds cliche, but I feel that as any professional wrestler, any performer that works in this industry, I think that should be your goal. With all due respect to anyone who thinks different, but for me, in my opinion, that is where it's at, right there.
Yeah, and it's funny because we met this year at WrestleMania for the first time.
Yes.
And standing off the side of the curtain, watching out from the crowd, which to me, you can watch on the monitors and that, but you don't really get the feel unless you're out there and you feel the energy, right? And I've been out there many times in that setting. I know what it's about. I also know there's nothing like it. And I remember looking at you because I wanted to see your reaction. I remember looking at it like, yeah, this guy wants to be here. I could tell by the look on your face. I could tell you had a little smile. You were just taking everything in, and I could hear you even making little comments to yourself about what you were seeing, and you weren't really talking to anybody. I don't even know if you knew you were doing it, but I was keeping like tabs on what you were doing. I was like, yeah, this is where this guy wants to be. So I saw that, and I think that's going to happen for you.
Well, I really hope so. I appreciate you saying that, and I really hope so. It's the one thing that's in my head right now. After seeing that last year, after seeing that this year, I think we were watching Miz versus Finn versus Seth, and man, they created magic that night. I was speaking to Finn about it yesterday, and that three-way was, man, that was something else. That whole WrestleMania was something else. It's truly the one time of year where, in my opinion, I mean, wrestling's magic as it is, but man, nothing is like WrestleMania. The WrestleMania magic is on a different level.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a wrestling fan, I've used the analogy. It's Christmas, it's Halloween, whatever your favorite holiday is, it's that. And there's just so much to sample from. I mean, you have, Ring of Honor, you have House of Hardcore, you have all of the, you have NXT, and then you have WWE, and let alone all the ones I just didn't mention. And so many different styles and so many different things that you can take in over the week. It really is. There's no way to explain it if you haven't been there. If you're a wrestling fan, you just got to go. And even if you're not a wrestling fan, to go and feel the atmosphere of an NXT Takeover or WrestleMania. And I defy anyone who goes to one of those shows that they don't walk out of there with at least a new respect for what it is and what this industry brings to the table.
It's like you said, there's something there for everyone, and it's unexplainable, that energy, that magic that you feel when you just stand there. Even when I was walking in, and very briefly I spoke to Stephanie McMahon, and she said, like, I was like coming out here and just standing in the arena without the people in yet, and that alone, like you can kind of, we were talking about like this baseline, this frequency that you can feel in your stomach, like this rumble, and it starts getting bigger and louder, and eventually everyone's in, and it's like the timing is right, and boom, there it is. Music starts, fireworks starts, and it's just one giant roller coaster ride from there, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's magic.
Yeah, it really it's I mean, it's like a concert, a good concert, or something like that, where everyone in that building, their tuning fork is all set to the same frequency, and they're all catching the same thing. They're all there for a reason. They may cheer different people or boo different people, but the reason for being there is all for the love of this thing that the three of us all fell in love with. And I'm really glad that we had the chance to do this, because I only ran into you real briefly, and I wanted to sit down and talk to you more, and because I had a feeling we'd have kind of similar mindsets on things, not only from music, but to, the wrestling industry itself. So I'm really glad we got the chance to do this. This is cool.
Me too.
No,
I appreciate you guys for having me.
Yeah, no, I always appreciate like people having different perspective of how they view things too, and I think you do definitely have a unique view of the business and your place in it. So I appreciate that as well.
Thank you. Well, it was very cool being on this. This is one of those things where I was like, yeah, never thought that was going to happen, but then it did. And it turned into a very pleasant, casual, relaxed conversation, which is always very nice.
Yeah. We don't have much of a plan on this, if you couldn't tell. We just kind of wing it.
We kind of wing
it.
Well,
that's kind of how I go through life. Wing it. So
it's a shipwreck a lot, much like our matches.
Well, but then you got to, at least if you're going to get into a shipwreck, you got to crash the boat completely. And that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, crash it on the rocks and just barely survive. Yeah, that's what we do. Yeah.
Just to get up and say, hey, that was fun. Let's do it again.
Oh, hey, and before we get off here, I'm going to predict at some point I smell a Aleister Black Finn Balor as Demon match. That's got money written all over it.
Oh yeah,
that's a good one right there.
That's definitely something that's been inside my upper chamber as well. So it's definitely something that's been on my mind for sure. Because I think the contrasts yet similarities are fantastic. And that guy, his wrestling ability is on a different level. He's truly unique.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's you got what you have going in NXT, but once you switch to and I say switch, I don't think it's a call up; it's a switch over to the WWE main roster. I mean, you got so many interesting matchups, whether it's, Bray Wyatt, whether it's, like I said, Cena and the polar opposite thing. I mean, there's a lot you can do, let alone like AJ's and Daniel Bryan's and things like that. It's going to be fun, man. You're going to have a fun ride these next bunch of years.
Well, I definitely hope so. And I definitely plan on making that happen for myself and for the, WWE universe. Because that is, that's what we want to do. That's what I want to do. Like the entertaining aspect and the wrestling aspect and everything that comes together in professional wrestling is just like, it's fantastic. And all these cool dream matches that you were talking about and all that stuff has definitely been on my mind. And I especially think it's funny that you mentioned the John Cena one because of the difference between myself and John. I think that's also the reason why me and Velveteen Dream worked so well.
Exactly.
Because it was such a polar opposite, but then it's almost like we're in the same wavelength, but we're just completely opposites. And that's why I feel that the kid,
And he was he's one of those freaky athletes too, right? Just a good athlete.
He's ridiculous. Like that dude is a prodigy. That dude looks at something, picks it up and does it. There is so much confidence in him, and he's only 22, 23 years old. He is going to be a very wealthy man at some point, and he's going to make himself and the WWE a lot of money. I have no doubt. That guy right there is, he's money. He's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, your money too, dude. If you were wondering why you were the one that made it or all of those things, there's plenty of reasons. There really is. I get you asking that, but there's a lot of reasons, and I'm looking forward to see where all of this goes in the future for you, man. We're big fans.
I appreciate it very much, and again, I can't stress enough. Thank you so much for having me. This has been super cool.
Yeah, man. All the best. We'll be watching, and thanks again for your time, and look forward to talking to you again soon, man.
No problem. Thank you guys very much.
Really enjoyed that conversation. I did, like I said, I didn't get to talk to him at Mania the way I wanted to, because he was a guy that I really wanted to sit down and talk with, just to see what he was all about. So this was nice to be able to have that opportunity, and all the hosters got to eavesdrop on it. So how about that?
Well, it's also, you like the big league people, make it seem like you're a bigger deal than you are. So I get it. But I talked to him a few times. Great. And, I think just a good dude, and I like his unique view on things. And I also like the fact that he stays humble, but stays hungry, which I appreciate. And I think
humble and hungry is a deadly combination.
Yeah. So I definitely see big things for him. He's got that kind of magnetism that a crowd can attach to, and that kind of it that you can't teach, and you don't know why people have it, but they seemingly have it. And he seems like he's one of those guys. So I'm rooting for him because he's a good dude and he's a great performer. And I like to see guys that have put their time in and scratched and clawed to get that reward at the end. So looking forward to that for him.
Also, a guy who it seemingly seems to have all come together at exactly the right time.
Right.
He honed it. All through Europe and across the world, honed it to the point that when he got to NXT, as much as he said he felt like out of the loop at first, it didn't show. It truly felt like, oh, that guy has everything that, he's mapped this out and he has it exactly where he wants.
And I'll say this too. He's a deceivingly big guy.
Yeah.
He's bigger than I thought he was when I met him. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, this is a pretty big dude. Like he's got a big head. Like not in an egotistical sense. He's got a large cranium. He's a big dude. Yeah.
I was surprised too. Kind of like, Jeff Hardy surprises people with how big he is, and how, I've gotten that over the years where people, meet me and go, whoa, you're 6'4". It just, for whatever reason, some people, that's the way it is. But I met him and I was like, he is, bigger than I thought he was. And I think also part of that is because he's very quick and explosive in the ring. Yeah. So because of that, sometimes you assume someone to be that explosive must be smaller. But not the case with him. He's talented dude. Looking forward to, as I said, the Finn Balor's and all the matchups, going forward. And like we talked about, him and Ciampa, man, that would be a really, really cool, different, just one of those matches that I think would translate really well with their styles, with their characters. That'd be a fun one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
we talked a lot, Bird. It's time to shut up.
Hey, did you notice that we got through the entire pod without me threatening to slap your ass?
Until now, apparently. We also almost got through the entire pod without you trying to put yourself over like you did at the Hall of Fame when you tried to induct yourself.
Yeah, you like that, huh?
Yeah. And here's the thing: you knew how they were going to react, and I didn't know they were going to react.
No,
that way.
honestly, I swear to God, I didn't know. I did not know. I wasn't expecting that, but that's why I tried to cut it off pretty quick because I didn't want to make it become.
I know you did.
A big thing. So
I know you did. You actually took the high road and shut it down quick. But
so I could have just stood there for 10 minutes and just been like waving my hands like more. It was what just retrospect maybe I should have done, but
done the beg off Ric Flair. No, come on.
Threatened to walk out, then come back like, oh no, you're too great. Curtain call, the whole thing. But if I had to do over again.
Yeah, you would. Well, it was a good week. It was a busy week. We're both pretty fried. Hope you guys. Hope we were able to bring some form of energy to it this week. As we said, it was a long, busy week. Busy in a good way. E&C Show's coming back. I think it's September. So we're just filming. We're filming like crazy.
Cool, man. We're into it. All right, hosers.
Yeah.
I'll let you. Fucking.
Sick of us. You know what? I'm gonna go smack my own ass. Is what I'm gonna do. Man. I'm just gonna smack my own ass right into bed.
Yeah. Well, you go do that.
All right.
I'm gonna go pack because I have to go to the Pittsburgh Comic Con, Steel City Con this weekend. Busy
cat.
Yeah.
Busy cat, Jack.
All right, you marks. If you're in Pittsburgh, come see me. If not, you other marks, talk to you next week.